Tabletop Syndicate, Joker Prime, and Squintz.
What's up?
More top 5 action. We love it. And we are taking in your
Suggestions,
yes,
comments,
requests.
There you go.
That's the word I was looking for.
Okay.
We are putting those into the works, but we try to put a little bit of effort into these lists. You know, I mean, we may overthink some of them at times, but we want to actually put them together. So we've got a few lists out there you've requested. Don't think we're just overlooking those. We've got them in the works. Mm-hmm. We just haven't got them put together yet.
Coming soon, though.
Yeah, they should be coming out pretty quick. But today's top 5 is going to be our top 5 Batman clicks.
Yeah, you knew it had to happen. Had to happen.
Just happy right now. So, always love my DC, love my Batmans, my Batman family. Squintz probably hates just hearing the word. Probably hurt him a little bit to have to pick his favorites. But
I do love the character, but he's so annoying in clicks. So annoying.
Not as bad as he used to be now. I haven't played him much, maybe even at all that under the new rules.
Changes.
But yeah. All right. Do you want me to start, or you want to start?
I can do. I'll start. I'll do top 5. I'll do my number 5.
Okay.
At number 5, I have the Batman from the Rebirth set. And so many times with these lists, we try to always remind you that we put these together based off of multiple factors such as playability, power, how strong the piece is, the sculpt, and just how many times we've played the piece personally.
Right.
And so what's funny about that is my number 5, I think I've maybe played this character once. This actual click piece one time.
I think he was on one of your Justice League teams.
Right, but I have played against him, and it was really annoying. Like most Batmans that are played well are super annoying to play against. So the reason why I put him on number 5 is he's a decent amount of points. Like he's not.
It's like 85.
Yeah, so he's not overcosted, but he's also not something ridiculous like 60 or 50 points. The biggest thing that makes this character, or this click, I'm sorry, the one from Rebirth, probably really good and annoying in my number 5 is that he has like a stealth on steroids. So there are ways to get around stealth, especially with the new rule changes. But with his character trait, if the line of fire to him is blocked, or if it's hindered, or if it crosses
anything but clear squares, I think.
Yeah, it says if it crosses anything but unoccupied clear squares, then it's blocked. So I mean that could be anything, right? So if it crosses hindering, obviously, if it crosses
so that takes away improved targeting through hindering because it's different now.
So there's ways of getting around stealth, but with the way they worded the character trait, it makes it to where that particular Batman is way more difficult to target from range. And then you have to get in his face, and I think he has combat reflexes. I don't know why I don't have him pulled up. I'll pull him up maybe later.
It's been a little while, I don't recall.
And so that plus, if he's the first to hit, then he gives his whole team protected outwit. And even though I don't play as much DC, and usually I'm being just destroyed by outwit because of DC characters, it feels like anyways, it is nice to be able to play a DC character that can protect my team against outwit, because I hate outwit. So that's why he's my number 5.
Nice, yeah. And his sculpt is kind of cool. It's not the best.
Exactly, it's not one of
different.
my favorite. I would if he was one of my favorite like click pieces to play in the game, I would probably swap them.
Yeah, but I just like that it's not typical, just like him stand there. I think he's got like the grappling hook out, or
one of his
or maybe the
batarangs.
He's like holding something up.
He's got a batarang, I think.
But my number 5 is one Squintz may not remember, but I used to play a lot more, and that is Colonel Wayne.
No, I definitely knew that dude was going to be on there.
He made it to number 5. He is a lot of fun. I actually really enjoyed the Elseworld set. It was out, I think, before we even started playing.
Yes, it was.
Because it was before... Was it before Joker's Wild? Or it was like right after Joker's Wild, but both were out before we started playing. And I don't know. I got into some of those a little more than I probably would have originally thought. But it was a lot of fun, especially the Justice Riders, all the cowboy versions, and he kind of goes along with that, being Colonel Wayne. And he also has one of the best bystanders he can spit out of like all time, and that is Red Wing or no, Red Robin maybe. I can't remember what he's called. What's
Colonel Wayne?
Wow, that's so embarrassing. It's like his Indian sidekick partner version of Robin, but does it say? Free action.
Redbird.
Redbird. I was close. I said Red Wing.
Yes.
Redbird. But Squintz hates that guy because he has like hypersonic blades.
Oh, that, yeah.
Hypersonic blades and whatever. But no, overall just a fun piece. He's got a lot of other stuff going on. That's a special attack, right? Isn't it?
It is.
It's a special attack. So you have to actually get to the click that it's on, but I've actually managed to do that most of the time. And then he also shares the trait that, let me make sure I remember the dynamic correctly. Yeah, so all the kind of Justice Riders have that high noon trait that if they hit with a range attack, they basically have to be the target. If they're the last one to hit that character, then the character they hit, they have to be the target of, type of thing. I'm not explaining it real well, but he's just fun. He's kind of a cool sculpt because it's like a cowboy Batman, and then the Redbird bystander alone makes him awesome. And he's got like some running shot action for Batman. So that is my number 5.
Nice. You want to do your 4?
My number 4 is the Prime Batman from Justice League Unlimited.
Nice.
He is like 40 points. He's only like 4 clicks long, but he has stealth. Well, he has Batman team ability, and he has a trait that basically lets him see everywhere. He doesn't have to have range. He can hit everyone within line of fire of certain abilities. I think he's been toyed around with being very meta. The top side, he's got mind control, in cap, shape change, mastermind, and then on his that's his first 2 clicks, his top half of the dial, and then it flips on the second half. So that's light blue on top, dark blue on bottom. The second half of his dial is opposite, so light blue on top, or dark blue on top, light blue on bottom. So that is plasticity, that is Pinsai, is that barrier?
Barrier.
Yeah. Barrier, and then probability control. And yeah, he's got the Batman ally team ability, and then let me see, he has something where he can give up his Batman ally. Oh, he gives up his stealth basically to do the attack. So it's a free action, and for the rest of the game, he can't use his Batman ally team ability. And when he occupies a clear square and is given a range action to use in-cap, mind control, or Pinsai, he can use improved targeting through hindering. This character can make range attacks while adjacent to opposing characters, may target adjacent or non-adjacent characters, and may instead target all opposing characters within line of fire.
Goodness gracious.
No range necessary. He can essentially shoot everyone on the map depending on your map choice.
Right.
He can hit colossal retaliators from anywhere, essentially. So,
and he has colossal stamina.
Yes.
Character traded.
So he is a pretty cool dude.
For 40 points. Nice.
Yeah.
That was your number 4?
That was my number 4.
Nice. All right, so my number 4 I have as the animated, the Batman from the animated set, but it's the Fast Force. Okay, the Fast Force. So,
is that the one I think it is?
Most likely. So most sets, you all probably understand that they release the main set, and then they also release a Fast Force set. So with the animated series, the Fast Force is 100 points. So it's a little bit more than I'm willing to pay for most Batmans, unless they're just like really, really good, which there are some that we're going to get to that are really like powerful. But so 100 is like the top end I would pay for a Batman most of the time. But the thing that the reasons why I like this Batman, so costume is really cool. It reminds me of the animated TV show that I used to watch all the time. So I love that. He starts with a 12 attack. There are quite a few Batmans that start top click with a 12 attack, which is annoying, but also nice because he's not normally going to hit hard, but at least it's a better chance of hitting.
And he's got a lot of utility almost all the time. So.
Right. And so and speaking of utility, this Batman starts with Outwit. And when I think Batman, I definitely think one of the powers he should have. And in clicks, they normally do give him Outwit. So he has it. He has Outwit. He has a 3 damage, so not overpowered, right? But if he outwits your defense, it's a 3 straight through.
And one thing I didn't mention a moment ago, I mentioned the Batman Allied Team ability. Pretty much all of them have it, and that just grants stealth.
True. Now, another reason why I like this Batman is for his character trait, which I think is just, I mean, it's not like overpowered, but I think it could be strong used in the right circumstances, and it's thematic or true to his character. So he has a character trait called Grappling Hook. So it's a free action. You get to choose a square within 3 squares in line of fire on a different elevation than he currently occupies. You get to place Batman. You place him there in that square. After resolutions, Batman may make a close attack. So honestly, with that wording there, I don't think the attack is free because it says after resolutions, Batman may make a close attack, which I don't know why he wouldn't be able to do otherwise. So I'm not sure if the wording was
well, it's a free
corrected.
action just to do that, right?
Well, it's a free action to place them, and then it says
Gotcha.
after resolutions, Batman may make a close attack. But when I first played it, I think I may have played it wrong. What I was doing was I was like making a range attack, and then I was like placing them and making an attack for free, which maybe I wasn't allowed to make for free. But I do remember playing them, and I loved it because I thought it was really cool that it could go from like down like.
I don't know though, because there would be no point in adding that
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. They had to have
because he could make a close attack after placement anyway.
Exactly. So that's how we played it, and I thought that was really cool because he could like range you from like down in an alley, and then he could like grappling hook up to you and punch you in the face. And so I thought that was really cool, and that's why.
Or vice versa, he could punch you in the face and grapple down and shoot you.
Exactly. So I thought that had some really good possibilities, and with Outwit and having stealth, I thought that represented Batman really well. But again, he's Batman, in my opinion, and we're going to see here in a minute that it's definitely not always true. A Batman shouldn't be that strong. A Batman should be able to be effective, but not be able to like just demolish you. That's my opinion.
He should be able to demolish everyone.
But that's why he's my number 4. So yeah.
All right. What's your number 3?
Oh yeah. So number 3, I actually haven't played this piece, but I've wanted it for quite a while. It is the Batman from the animated, not the Fast Force. So that was the Fast Force I guess I got done talking about. The animated from the main set. The main set from Batman Animated is pretty awesome. He is a rare. Let me get to him really fast. It's a rare, Batman number 40, and he comes with equipment. He comes with a Batarang. The reason why I like him is, again, he has utility. And so I think with Batman's utility is really thematic to the character. And so he starts with Outwit, which I think is an obvious. He only has sidestep. That's one reason why I don't like it that much, because it's only sidestep. But there are some additional things that can make it okay that he only has sidestep.
Dude's 125 points.
And that's another reason that I'm not like super. So honestly, I probably should have put him as my number 4 and my Fast Forces number 3. But I think that this one is maybe a little bit stronger because he has some better defenses and whatnot. So for example, his defense is a special one. It's combat reflexes. So if you get close to him, right, because you can't shoot him from far. He has stealth. So if he's in hindering, you can't shoot him from a distance unless you have improved targeting. So you have to get in his face. If you get in his face, he has combat reflexes and he has toughness, which makes sense. Like, that's a Batman. Like, he knows he has martial arts and he's pretty tough. So, and it says adjacent opposing characters can't use Mastermind. So a lot of times the Batman characters, the characters that Batman's facing, if you're doing like a thematic game, are going to be characters that do Mastermind, like Joker, and that's super annoying. So I love that he gets rid of that. He has an equipment that he comes attached with that allows him to do a free attack, basically, with the Batarang. So the Batarang is an equipment that can be equipped to anybody, but he starts with it, and if he's the one that has it equipped, he gets to make the range attack free instead of it being a costed range attack.
Wow. Does he start with it for free, or does he still pay the points?
Batman may start the game with it equipped. Batman may activate the Batarang as a free instead of a rain. It doesn't roll to KO it. So,
but you'd still have to pay the points.
Okay, yeah,
right?
and luckily it's only 2 points.
Oh wow.
But it basically lets you do a range attack, and normally you would have to roll to KO it. Well, since it's attached to him, he doesn't have to KO it, so he can keep on doing like a free range attack. It's like he can be sidestepping in, ranging you.
I don't know. We'd have to check into that because I think some of those newer ones where they just automatically start equipped. I'm not sure if you still pay the points like normal.
I'm not sure. It's only 2 points though, so I'm not too worried about that. The last thing I think is really cool is, and we don't do this a whole lot, we don't play like strict meta rules, but if you are the one that like picks the map, there's things that you're allowed to do. If you play this Batman and you do not pick the map, then at the start of the game when you're placing characters, you can place Batman in the square of hidden terrain 5 squares away from your starting area.
That's awesome.
So I thought that was really cool. He has a fairly long dial. He's got 8 clicks. He has a 12 attack top dial with Quake. So again, he's not overpowered in my opinion, but I feel like he's got enough utility and can be kind of annoying if played right. So I've wanted him for a long time and still haven't got him.
Yeah, I don't have him either.
I know. You didn't like the animated set.
Yeah, if you didn't watch our thing about DC sets, go back and check that out. But it's kind of funny that 2 of Squintz so far have been Batman animated. I'm really hoping that the Chase Batman's also on his list from that set. That'll make me feel better.
Spoiler alert, it's definitely not.
That would have been hilarious.
Unfortunately,
if you
not
had
very good.
3 of your top 5 was all from animated.
Nah.
But my number 3 has already been mentioned.
Ooh.
That is the Rebirth Batman.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much everything we already talked about. I don't know. Surprisingly to myself, I'm usually pretty good at using stealth.
Yes, very good.
Like I usually use stealth better than I would expect myself to be able to, if that makes any sense. Especially with Batman's and their utility, because they usually have a moderate range, like a 4 to 5, I would say, is probably average on a Batman. Nothing outrageous, but enough to use some utility, and then obviously Outwit has a minimum of 6, and most of them have that. I think he's got the Outsider's team ability.
He does. I didn't mention that.
So,
I'm glad you mentioned that.
If you don't know what that is, he can basically pick an opposing character, and their combat values cannot be modified. And you may think on your turn that's not great, but actually that takes away hindering bonuses, energy shield deflection, combat reflexes, if they've been perplexed. So it actually is quite handy and pretty powerful. So that's just another bonus on top of all the things we talked about earlier. Again, if he's the first one that hits, your whole team is protected outwit. So now, if something that you've been needing is outwitted, well, your whole team is protected, so you can use it.
Yeah.
And then the improved stealth. So now lines of fire are blocked even more easily. It's even easier to position. I don't have to necessarily just stick him into hindering. But with the new rules, now he runs through it freely anyway. So it's, everything we talked about earlier. He's fun. He's cool. He's got Outsider's team ability. A little bit costly at setting about 85 points.
Right.
But I think worth it overall. And so he made my number 3.
Nice. Do you want to do your number 2?
I think I'll go ahead and do that.
Do it.
My number 2 is the Justice League Trinity War Secret Rare Batman.
Very nice.
Or super rare. Wrong hobby.
I was like, super, no.
Super rare. Excuse me. And yeah, Trinity War. The sculpt is cool. It's pretty simple, but I think it's really nice sculpt. I mean, he's just kind of standing there. He talk about Batman having utility.
Yeah.
Okay, so his sculpt is, I mean, he's just kind of standing there in a typical Batman pose, and his cape is almost flying in the wind.
Right.
Like when he's standing up on a building or whatever. And he's got 2 pick powers, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So his special damage grants him Perplex, Outwit. Let me directly quote it so I don't misquote this. So his special damage that he has, he starts with and has 3 times throughout his dial. Batman can use Outwit and Perplex. When he has no action tokens, he can use Probability Control. So it's not pick a power, but it's an additional power. But then his special attack that he has, and he has it on half of his dial, is Utility Belt. Give Batman a free action and choose a standard attack or damage power. Batman can use that power until your next turn. You can choose any damage or attack ability or power. Oh my gosh. That is so much.
Exactly. That's because, I mean, there's like what? I mean, shoot. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's like 10-ish powers, both attack and damage. So that's 20 powers combined you can pick from. They can fit any situation you need it to.
Yeah, plus he's already got like the big 3 that you would usually choose
right as
for damage.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, with my damage
but now
power, then I'll just choose one of those things with my attack power.
Yes.
You outwit a specific one, I'll pick something else and still have my others. So, I mean, just a lot of utility there. A 5 range with 2 targets. And improved movement over elevation. Ignores elevation. And then his trait. Adjacent friendly characters with a lower point value in the Justice League keyword can use the Batman Ally team ability.
That's right, I forgot.
So he can grant them stealth. But it gets better. Friendly characters named Superman or Wonder Woman don't have to be adjacent or lower points. So he can give Superman and Wonder Woman anywhere on the map stealth. And then he can give adjacent friendly characters that are lower than him. So he is 150 points. So a little high, but like we said, this one, worth it. He is a little older, Trinity War, so some of his values aren't quite as high as some of what you see now, but he does still start with a 12 attack and an 18 defense with the 3 damage.
Which is good.
Especially for a Batman.
Yeah. So
I really like this guy. He's my number 2.
He's number 2, all right. So I'll go ahead and do my number 2. I made this one number 2 purely because he is way overpowered, in my opinion. But that's kind of the point of the piece. So if you haven't figured it out, my number 2 is God of Knowledge from the, I believe it was the Chases from Harley Quinn.
Yes.
So the Chases from Harley Quinn, they decided to do, I can't remember, I don't know what run from comics it's from, but
The Apocalypse War,
Apocalypse.
I'm pretty sure.
And so there was a ton of DC characters where like they were the god of this or god of that. And so you had like the god of power in Superman, you had the god of knowledge with Batman, and so on and so forth.
Pretty sure it's from this right
Here. Look at that.
Yeah.
Very nice. And so it is really cool. First of all, the sculpt is awesome. He's sitting in this big chair, just like a throne. He's got a sweet like all black suit with like a white bat symbol in the middle. So the sculpt is amazing. But then again, in my opinion, he is insanely overpowered. Okay, so he can aim through hindering terrain and through characters. So basically, you're not hiding from
characters. Also has like a huge range.
Yeah, so he has a 9 range. So you're not hiding from this guy, unless you can maybe be on elevation and he's on a lower elevation. Maybe, I don't know. Not going to be easy to hide from him. And the reason why you want to hide from him is because he has outwit, and all Batmans have outwit, but this one I think has like double outwit, right?
He can either use it twice, basically, or pick a team ability.
Ah, that's right. So
He
double
can outwit cosmic power,
Right.
if I'm not mistaken.
That's true because it's a team ability. So he can either do
I
outwit
don't know
twice.
I don't know if he could get rid of that, or
Use
if the protected outwit supersedes it. So I don't know the exact dynamic there.
True, outwit. When Batman uses it, instead of choosing one power, you may choose 2 powers or 1 team ability. So,
But there's still a lot of other good team abilities to choose if you can't do that one.
right. So insane, and so then obviously, so he's 225 points, which is a lot, but you got a guy that's 9 squares and in the back. He's all the way in the back. You can protect him with whatever team you build him on. You can protect him. He's sitting in the back. He's double
you can
outwitting.
stick someone right in front of him to protect him also.
Exactly, because he
'Cause
can
he
aim
can
through
see
him.
through them.
He can aim through him, and so he's double outwitting. He's got Batman team ability, so you can put him in hindering and put someone in front of him. It doesn't matter. He's got quintessence, so you can't outwit him.
And now he can clear himself potentially.
Yeah, so we haven't tried that, but yeah, quintessence is now basically gives you, or it always does give you willpower. Now with willpower, you can roll to clear your tokens. So if that wasn't enough, he has flight. He can fly. He has an 11 attack with Pinside, and again, that's from a 9 range, aiming through hindering and characters
For 4 damage.
for 4 damage. So yeah, he has phasing teleport. Batman, God of Knowledge, can use it as free if he has no action tokens.
He can phase for free if he has no action tokens.
And it says Batman, God of Knowledge, may carry friendly characters with the wing symbol, which is kind of moot now. But back then, like, he could carry. So he's a carrier. He flies.
So he could carry flyers. And it wasn't placement, but it was phase.
Yes, phasing teleport.
And for free. He could phase for free and carry a friendly flyer.
Oh, here we go. Another one. Opposing characters within 6 squares and lower points can't use perplex. That's kind of weird.
All of them have something kind of like that.
Kind of something that is a negative towards them.
Well, no. That's opposing characters within 6
Opposing
squares.
characters within squares. My bad.
Can't use it.
So yeah, this guy, but he's the God of Knowledge. So they had to make him obscenely good. It's just, that's why he's my number 2, is because he's way overpowered.
But I mean, honestly, now with some of the pieces that are coming out, he's probably overpriced for that.
Oh, 225 points for, yeah, exactly. I mean, even with all of that,
awesome,
with all of that, even for 225 points, that's a lot. But I don't know. He's hitting for 4 damage, pin side. So he might be worth it still. You know?
From 9 squares, yeah.
But his Harley Quinn is not reduced the way we do our casuals.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is my number 2.
All right.
Did you do your 2 already?
I did.
So yeah, so we're on to our honorable mentions.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and start since I was doing my number 2.
Do you have 12?
I do not. I have JLU, which was, and the way I did my honorable mentions this time was kind of a way of cheating to mention multiple.
Just all JLU.
So all the JLUs I thought they did a pretty darn good job with. They gave them some pretty fun, weird, funky utility stuff, kind of like what Joker Prime already mentioned with the Prime. And so that was cool. But the one that I thought has been the most fun for me to play with for the longest time, especially since I don't invest in as much DC because I just borrow Joker Prime stuff, is the Elseworld set. And you had already mentioned how good they did with the Elseworld set. So the reason the reason why I like the Elseworld set was because they had multiple Batmans. The pose is kind of cool. He's got his blue cape on. He's kind of like in a fighting stance, and they have, the thing that makes me mad is they have one. Yeah, they have one that's a shifting focus, but not all of them have shifting focus.
He goes with the older
shifting focus Batmans, which is kind of cool because you can pull out your older pieces from your older sets. But then it was kind of annoying for the set itself that the Batmans from that set didn't have shifting focus. But I like shifting focus. I think it's pretty cool. And the one that I've used the most is pretty cheap. He's like 40 points, and he has a unique modifier that perplexes like everybody around him. So I really like that. And then the other one that's a little bit better though, for 100 points, I mean, he's got an 11 attack with precision strike, with outwit.
Joker's Wild is kind of in that area of just pre-power creep, like I don't know. I feel like there's a big dip there with some of those, and part of it is the way we play with like the reducing certain characters. So that set is kind of in that no man's land of not reduced, and not a lot of them are very viable against some of today's pieces.
No. But this one, the ones from Elseworld I thought were fun because I thought they represented Batman fairly well, where he's helping the whole team like be stronger because he's researched the enemy and he's helping everybody defeat the enemy.
Yeah.
But he can still do some damage on his own. And
Absolutely.
so I thought they did a good job with the Elseworld Batmans. That's why they're on my honorable mentions.
Nice. So Jill, you and Elseworld's Batmans.
Yep.
So my first honorable mention is actually from Elseworlds, but it's not one of those regular ones. It's Necron the Bat God.
I know who you're talking about.
So he's cool. I actually have a little I think it's just 2 little comic book issue series. Basically Egyptian god Batman type thing. It's cool Elseworld storyline.
That guy. Okay, yeah.
And he's got some cool stuff that makes him a little bit strong, but not super powerful like we talked about. That's kind of in the lull area where some of those are a little bit just can't think of the word now. Just overrun, basically. Outdated, essentially. The next one that I have, though, is a WizKids, I want to say like...
Exclusive?
Well, yeah, it was like I think it was like an OP kit or something.
Okay.
But he was the one that came with that cat woman. And they kind of play off each other, so they can both use sidestep and have passenger one, but only to carry the other one.
Okay.
Some stuff like that. So he's got a lot of cool utility, and she's actually one of my favorite Catwomans, and they both play well together and are pretty strong. So.
Which makes sense thematically.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool. And those are really my main honorable mentions there.
Yeah, I mean, there's been so many Batmans, and I feel like sometimes WizKids doesn't do a great job of like representing a character like in the game, like what they can do in the game. Sometimes it's not easy to do that, but I feel like with a lot of Batmans, they've done a really good job of giving them a lot of utility that make Batmans annoying to play against.
And I know for 100% certainty there are a lot of other really good Batmans. There's some people out there whose list might not include anything that's on our list, because some of them are older that we haven't even really played with. I know I own a couple that had I been more familiar with them or played them more, they'd probably be on here. They could probably be honorable mentions. They kind of start with the Bat Swarms.
Yeah.
And there's one cool like Omega Batman, but I'm just not as familiar with them. I have a few of them, but we haven't really played them much yet. So that's kind of where we're at. But now,
Number ones. I'll get it started. Mine has already been mentioned. I believe it was your number 2. It was the Batman from the Trinity War.
Ah, yes.
Or is it not called
Yes.
Trinity? Oh, so it's called Trinity War.
Justice League Trinity War.
Awesome Batman, as was already described. Basically, you take everything you can think of a Batman and you put it all into one character. It's like this guy is going to research his enemy to the point where they're not going to be able to do anything against him, and they represent that with this clique because he has all the powers you can possibly think of. Now, obviously, not all of them, but he gets to pick between a ton of powers, and most of them are support powers or utility powers that. Maybe he's not going to hit you in the face for like 10 damage, but
He can help a friend do that.
exactly. So he's super annoying to play against. He is quite a few points in terms of you have to pay the cost total, point total to pay him is fairly high, but I don't think it's outrageous.
It's 150.
Yeah, and so plus he can still hit fairly hard after outwitting your defense, and I think he hits for 3, and so
I believe that's right.
And so, yeah, we've already talked about him already, but I just kind of want to reemphasize that I think, in terms of Batmans, if you want utility, like, play that Batman. Like, he can be a one-man support piece. Like, if you only wanted one piece that can do all of your support, like, he's your Batman for the most part.
Yeah, no, like we mentioned, he is fun, and in terms of, like, what you think of when you think of Batman, as I mentioned previously, you want to outwit him, well, good luck, because he's got ways to choose other things still. So it's hard. You have to decide what you want to get rid of,
Exactly.
and then he can still pick other things. And so I think he does really represent the character well as far
Absolutely.
as just general Batman.
And the sculpt is okay. I probably if it was a piece that I played a lot, I might think about sculpt swapping. But it's still kind of cool because, like you said, he's kind of like
It's kind of an iconic Batman.
yeah. It kind of looks like he's standing on a ledge and the wind's blowing his cape to the
Yeah.
side, and he's like looking over Gotham. So it's cool. It's just there's some other ones I might trade
Right.
it out with.
For sure. So, my number one, and the only reason it wasn't Squintz's number one is because of bitterness,
Yeah.
is the Batman God of Knowledge.
He's the worst.
He's the best. You know, I should have pulled him out just to show off that beautiful sculpt, because he's sitting in the Mobius chair.
Oh, see, I didn't know that was. I thought it was a cool
Yes.
cherry.
No, that's basically like what's giving him the powers, essentially,
Okay.
almost.
He probably built it.
No, he tricked Mobius out of it or something
Oh.
like that.
Storyline
Storyline spoiler, but I'm pretty sure it's something like that. He outsmarted Mobius into giving him his chair, essentially. And so, like, obviously, typical Batman, right? Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna fool you into giving me that all-powerful chair to make me the God of Knowledge.
Right.
And fitting, like, he's freaking brilliant. And we already mentioned powerful. He's a flyer that can phase for free and carry. When he doesn't have action tokens, he can phase for free. And then on top of that, he can shoot through characters and hindering. So I can carry someone with me and put them in front of me as a meat shield and shoot you and outwit you, double outwit you, pinsai you. So I'm not even having to outwit your defense, maybe, unless it's invincible. And then if I do outwit your defense and I'm still worried about what you can do on offense, I can outwit again. Or I can take away team abilities. And he is costly, 225 points. So, you know.
He's almost a one-man army with all that going on.
So meta-wise, probably not viable.
True, 225
by
points.
himself.
Right.
But, like, typical casual game, I'd say, is around 250, or 250, 500. And so, like, he's a little less than half of that. So that's a lot more viable.
Absolutely.
And as long as you're not building a 500 point to be meta team around it, that's not how we usually do our casuals anyway.
Right.
But you can build a really fun team around that, even for that point value, and he gives you so much. But doesn't he, like, has super senses?
Towards the end of his dial, he does. Yes.
Is it towards the end?
Yes.
What's he start with? Is it
He starts. He might. Is it invincible? Something insanely silly
Let's
like
double
that.
check that again, because I know at some point he has super senses. I was thinking he might have started with it.
Maybe you're right. I thought it was like towards the end of his dial. Batman. No, that's Batman Who Laughs.
Right
there
there.
it is. Okay. So he starts
Oh,
with
impervious.
with an 18 impervious.
Oh, and then at the very end, he gets prob and regen.
Prob.
So he starts out with impervious and then goes to super senses, and then the last two clicks has regen.
Yep.
So if you knock him to that, then he'll just heal up again, and you gotta keep doing it. And if he doesn't have
Super
action
annoying.
tokens, he can phase away for free and regen.
Yep.
So
Annoying.
and he has, again, quintessence. So at the beginning of your turn, you could roll to clear his only action token and allow him to phase for free. So just a lot compounded there together. 11 for 4 Pensai, double outwit.
9 squares away.
Within 6, you can't perplex anyone. You can't use perplex as an opponent. So, he's awesome. He's beautiful. My favorite. My favorite, which is saying a lot because of Batman, but just Batman family in general is fun.
Yeah.
And Squintz has been tortured by him and
a
his
lot.
family a few times. So, like I said, bitterness is the driving factor.
I put him at my number 2.
But you also, I mean, Squintz is also the one that originally discovered the Trinity War Batman for us as well. So I think that's part of it as well.
Yeah,
So-
it is. I mean, yeah, no doubt. So those are our top 5s. As Joker Prime already said, there are a ton of Batmans, and we probably left some really good ones off the list. So make sure to comment in the section below about your list and what you think we should have had in there.
Yeah, and like I said, we are working on a few of the requests that have been dropped in the comments so far. Love seeing the feedback. I know on one of our recent ones that we put out, someone was just talking about this nostalgia of some of the pieces we discussed in our video as well, and telling some stories about times they played them. So drop that in there too. We'll try to interact as quickly to those as we can, and we try to keep getting this content out to you. So we definitely enjoy the conversations in the comments and the feedback. So please keep it coming.
Absolutely. Like and subscribe.
See ya.